Right, wait for social media to catch up, see if everyone comes on, if a few can come on. Starting this a bit earlier because I've got 1 hour dead with Bob Moore. He's got to do something else, so I've got to start 5 minutes early, get him on bang on 7 o'clock, 12 p.m. his time, and I can see a few come on. That's a good sign. Not sure who this is, but thanks for coming in. So basically, people, there's a link on the Facebook, on the post. You could even just come out of here, click on where the post is. There's a link on there. Click onto it, and it'll give permission to put your name on there like that, so I can quote your name. Hi, Adam Winslet. How's it going? Tap on in, man. Tap on in. So I've started this a little bit early, 5 minutes early, because I normally do a couple of thank yous and all that, and then bring the guest in at 5 past. But I've just spoke to Bob on email, and he said he's got an hour dead, 7 till 8 for us, 12 till 1 p.m. and him. He's got to be somewhere else at 1 p.m. So I thought get in early and then get him in on the hour. Yo, bonjour, Martin. So I've just started early basically so that I can do my thank yous. I want to thank obviously my man Lee Owen. From Owen Developments, you can see here, www.owendevelopments.co.uk. Check him out. Also, the man Stefan Everts with his S72 gin. We can do www.s72gin.com. Helps me out with contacts and that's great of Stefan. But check out Owen Developments. So basically, I was at Column today for to announce on a live our new reunion. Motocross and Spear Memories Reunion 2 for April the 9th and 10th, 2022. So that's really cool. I should be sorting out the booking in very soon, which I'll put posts up on. A lot of you guys, thank you very much for getting in contact with me, all messaging me. I appreciate it. I have pretty much messaged all of you back, but I was obviously trying to prep for this as well. It's a bit of a nightmare. So hopefully I'll get back to you guys after as well. So we're going to get the man in a minute. I'll send him the link. So yeah, it's been a busy day. Been a lot of prep for this as well. Got a lot of cool photos to show Bob. It's going to be all action. It's going to be flat out as we like it. Like a two-stroke, like the 90s, as it was on a 125, flat out, pinned. We're going to go all out an hour. So it'd be great if you can all register your names. There's one there, not sure who that is. So like there, so I can see your name. So if you ask me something, I'll ask Bob it. I'll say Alex Hartley. Just ask this, Bob. But if you come in like that, I won't be able to see who it is. Not sure who that is. Third interview in a row. I'm on shift. Third time in a row. I won't be leaving the fire station unless there is a nuclear meltdown. Even then, I might chin it off. Love that commitment, Tim. Hope we don't. Hello, Herb. How's it going? From Holland, my friend. There you go, my Laney Lou. My missus has put the link in the comments, so to make sure you're there you go. Douglas is how's it going, buddy? He's Johnny Shales, Big Dog's got his name on there. Hubs, you can see his thing, so I can quote your questions straight to Bob and say, Johnny Shales said, how big is the big dog? Right, what is the time? We're 2 minutes to. I'll send in the link in 2 minutes. So yeah, it's been an exciting day. Column it is, British Championship track, as we all know. So we've upped the ante. We're at a British Championship track. You know that what comes with that, British Championship prices. So yeah, we've got that in, but we've got a date down. Even having a cheeky little drink, look. It's been all go. I've got loads and loads of messages since I've posted that up, so I really appreciate that. I'm not sure who that is. You can literally, not sure who that is either. You can literally just come out of this interview, go on the post that I've got the interview on, just click on the link on there. My missus has put it in the comments as well there. You just got to click on that. Gives you permission to use your Facebook, and then you can see your profile. Otherwise I just see Facebook user look. I don't know who I'm speaking to, and I won't be able to quote Bob, who we're talking to. So it'd be cool if you can go, just pop out of this, click on the link, and then pop back in. It's annoying you have to do it, but it's all this privacy gone mad stuff for these days. Yeah, I will. Half a can with Bob. Get the old factory Chesterfield Yam picks up. Whew. Teach me, Bob. Teach me. Got me questions in front of me here. Hopefully you guys come in with some questions for Bob, the man. So I'm going to send him the link now, and then hopefully we'll get him on, and then we'll get this going. Get these cheeky pictures up of the man. Woo! Hoo-hoo-hoo! Bobby Moore on the Chesterfield. Teach me. Right. Yo, Kev, how's it going? Right, I'm going to send the link to Bob. Excited, nervous, all them things above. It's like Christmas Eve when you get these legends on. Hopefully he gets the email. I'll come off of that. Hopefully he's going to get that email, and he'll pop up into the bottom of my screen in a minute. Then you'll see my face light up. Then we'll get the video on, and we'll be away. The intro will be on, and then we'll be in. Hopefully Bob's internet connection will be good from the US of A. Not sure who that is. Hopefully you can just pop out of this interview, click on that link on the post, and come back in. I can see who you are. There you go. Tim Coleman's registered his profile. Love but more when I rode with help for KTM UK in the early 90s. Always liked his riding style. Yeah, very smooth Italian team. Ferrari. Hi Sharon, how's it going? There's our top caterer lady that's taking care of us for the new reunion, for the reunion 2, 2022. Hopefully Bob's going to get that. Let me just check to make sure my email's gone. Make sure the email's gone. Yep, the email's definitely gone. Hopefully Bob will be on in a minute. I've got an hour dead with him, so we will be flat out pinned. Like the 90s on the 125, flat out, brap. No, I know, mate. I was talking to Laney on the way back from Cullum and thinking, Jesus, that's only 4 months, isn't it? It's going to come around quick. Excitement all the way, flat out. Everything's flat out today. Flat out videos, flat out interviews, flat out messaging. The phone's been smoking hot. I much appreciate everyone. Everyone seems buzzing for it as well, which is really good. That's why we do it. Shane's the same birthday as Marty. 24th of the 7th. Oh, I think I can see my man down on the screen. I can see you. He's there. He's here. Great. The man is here. As you can see, my face is lit up. The legend is here. Right, so I will get this intro video underway, and then I'll get the man in, and we'll get cracking. Here we go then, people. Hope your volume's not too high, Bob, that you might, this comes in quite loud. Right, here we go. Bob Moore. Can you hear me? Can't hear you. Have you got anything on your screen that says anything about being muted? I don't know if you can hear me. What's that say? No, I can't hear that. Okay, no problem. False start, false start. Hopefully Bob will come back in and we can get that sorted. Hopefully he'll get his volume going. Hopefully you can all hear me all right, can you? You must be able to, because I've spoke to a few of you. Can you all hear me okay? Can someone just write on the thing you can hear me all good? I think Bob's just resorting his, not sure what happened there. Yo, Mr. Barfoot, how's it going? We'll have to get you on, Mr. Barfoot. So you can hear me good, Laney's just put. Yeah, we did hit the gate there, Chris, but back in the 90s, we like to come through the pack and still try and win after hitting the gate. I've done a few of them. That was back in the time. Right, thanks, Mick. Loud and clear, beautiful. So hopefully Bob can come back on and sort that out. Hopefully we'll be all good. Oh, Mr. Johnny Liddington. Yes, John Barfoot is a blast of the past from you. I get to speak to John Liddington twice in one day. Even saw you at the track today. Right, let's try again. I can see Bob's back. Fingers crossed. Can you hear me, Bob? Can I hear you? Can't hear you. Bummer. What's going on? Let me just see. There's nothing going on my end. Mute the mic, unmute the mic. It's got to be something to do with the mic in some way. Not sure why.
Testing your speakers on StreamYard. Sounds like they're working.
Hello?
Oh, Bob. Can you hear me?
How about now? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Bob. Have you got me?
There we go. Well,
yes.
Leave it to me to figure out how to work a computer. I'm the worst at it. So sorry about that. I really apologize.
No problem. I'm just over the moon to have you here. Absolute legend, Bob. Love you. Loved your racing days. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for having me. And it's an honor that I still have fans out there. So it's really cool. I really appreciate the opportunity anyways to speak with you.
Many, many fans and the pleasure, trust me, is all ours. Absolutely loved you. I think I've told you before that I live in Swindon near Fox Hill, so I got to see you live many times there at Fox Hill, which was very cool.
Yeah.
Did you love Fox Hill, Bob? Did you actually like the track
I did. You know, it was one of those. I love Fox Hill, but I had a love-hate relationship with it. I was fortunate enough to race, I believe, 4 Grand Prix there. Mm-hmm. I won 2 Grand Prix and went to the hospital in 2 Grand Prix. So it was really good or really disaster. So
yes, I did see that crash. I see it the other day. Actually, I thought, no, I'm not bringing that one up.
Yeah,
over the top of the hill. I saw it. Yeah,
that was okay. I mean, you know, it's just part of racing, you know. And I was trying to make up ground, had a bad start. And yeah, it wasn't a great year that year for me anyways, but yeah, it went down. It was one of those roll the windows down when you're flying through the air. Not fun.
No, I saw that. It was definitely a few cartwheels on the bike as well, which looked even more scary. But yeah, you were the top man there. I've already got loads of the guys already ploughing in loads of questions. I just wanted to ask you before I get their questions in, just to keep everyone updated, what you've sort of been doing basically since your racing career, really. Just keep us up.
Well, I been blessed to have a great after career. You know, I stopped racing in 1997, and I got the opportunity to take a job with American Honda and FMF to run to be the team manager of their race team here in America. So I did that for 3 years, and then I just started, you know, because I had such a good relationship with a lot of the athletes and riders, I just started managing riders since then. And basically, make a long story short, I've been doing that just over 20 years, and I love it. I work with a company called Roczen. They're very large in the sports marketing world. I head up the motorsport division within the company, and I've been there for 20 years. So it's just a great company to work with, and that's what I do now. I'm really building the roster in Europe, and my love for Europe is maybe a lot different than many others. I've been traveling to Europe for 35 years, so it's a really big part of just who I am and what I like to do, and I love traveling over there. So I'm currently working on MotoGP and growing in that side of things. Yeah, we're still doing motocross and supercross, but it's mainly MotoGP for me right now.
So very, very busy all round in general.
Yeah. Although it is a little bit off season for me, so as you can see, I lost the shaver and just trying to chill out a little bit right now. So our last event was in November. Had a 2-day test in Jerez, Spain, and then I traveled back home. So I've been home since.
Well, it's awesome to get the hour with you. I really appreciate your time, obviously. I've got Hub Gerlins here from Holland. He's put, hello, Bob. What are your memories of Holland, the tracks, the fans, and the riders?
Well, the fans are fantastic. You know, it's one of those things, being from California and traveling to tracks like Holland. I'll share the first experience, or first memory I remember. Valkenswaard was the, I think, first Grand Prix for me in 1985. No, 86. Sorry. And I walked the track and I'm like, oh man, I'm going to do so good here. It was all flat and smooth and it was just no bumps anywhere. And I absolutely got ruined that day. That was a really eye opener for me. I'm like, there was guys passing me that I didn't even know who they were. I think I got lapped both races. I don't even know if I got points. Maybe I got points in one of the motos, but that was the time where I was like, wow, this Europe thing is tough. And if I'm going to try to win anything, I've got to get good at sand. So my best race in the sand, ironically, I never won any Grand Prix in the sand, although I won in Belgium the year I won the championship, but I never won a Grand Prix in Holland. But my best race was the year I won the world championship. I crashed both races. One, Kiko Coyote took me out and stood on my bike and got going that year. I don't know if you remember the pictures of that one, but
yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
He took off. I got going. I ended up going 5-5 that day for like 4th overall or whatever. I thought I rode by far, for me, the best then. But that was probably my best result in the sand. But amazing time. I loved it. I even lived in Belgium for 1 year when I raced with Stefan Everts, and the team was with Sylvain Gabors in 1993. So I enjoyed it.
I got John Barfoot's just making a joke here. He rode the British Championships in the 125 GP as well. He's put, I raced Bob in 1997 Unadilla. He was slow.
Yes, and I was. It was one of those things where I came to America, and I was basically kind of already agreed to do the new role with Honda and FMF, and they asked me to kind of do the Grand Prix, or I think that was the national that I did there. Anyways, yeah, I didn't fare very well. The tracks the track, is a little bit different. I didn't have my complete bike or anything like that, not to make any mistakes. The American riders were really fast, but yeah, I was probably slow for sure.
I'm pretty sure he's joking, but yeah, I've got some of the lights coming in. This is a good question. Kevin Pride here has put, hi Bob, was the Chesterfield Yamaha as good to ride as it looked? So which one are we talking about, the black one or the white one?
Yeah, 100%, Kevin. That bike was amazing. It's kind of hard to explain, but the best way I can explain it is, it's like that bike was not really, really fast, but it handled amazing. And for me, being kind of maybe on a smoother rider, I wasn't really aggressive style or anything like that. For me, just having a bike that was easy to control and move around the bumps and hit anything that I wanted to, that was the best part about it. And it obviously looked killer too, being all black with the racing bolts going through the thing and all that. So it was amazing. Fortunate enough to have that bike. I gave it to the AMA Hall of Fame, the museum back in Ohio. Yeah. So it was at a museum in Las Vegas for a few years, and then I moved it out in 2017 out to Ohio. So it's there now.
It's definitely an iconic bike. You made it an iconic bike that year, obviously, and even in the UK now, a lot of the Super Evo and Evo stuff's all come back in. They got proper series and race meetings, and I'm even doing a meeting with all of them, and I've seen a couple about, and they are highly sought. That's for sure.
That's cool.
Very cool. So, what about when you was on the 250? I'm bringing up some pictures while you mention it. Obviously, everyone loved you guys on them ones.
Yeah,
as well.
that year in 92. Yes, yep. 1992. We called that was the year that we were called the Ice Cream Men. because it was Donnie Schmidt, myself, and Alex Puzar.
Yep.
I like telling this story because it really kind of brings out a person that Michele Rinaldi was.
Yep.
That year in 1991, when I finished second again that year was second to Stefan Everts.
Yep.
I came to Michele and I told him, I said, look, give me a chance at riding the 250. I think I can do well. I want to move up a class. I want to go after the championship. I said, can you please give me an opportunity? I said, I don't care what it takes. I'll ride whatever. I will ride for free because I'll show you what I can do. And he had already signed Donnie and Puzar to those factory Yamaha bikes that they got, those aluminum frame, the really trick bikes.
Yep.
But he ended up figuring out getting enough budget together through Chesterfield and a few other sponsors to put together basically a third bike team. I had a separate truck, crew, everything else. I didn't share in any of the works parts or anything that those guys had, but I had a really good bike. And Michele put the whole deal together for me, and I rode. It was my first year in 250 class. I ended up winning, I think, 1 Grand Prix, and I finished second in the championship that year. So it was consistent, not as consistent as Donnie, but it was a great year, and I have very fond memories of that.
I've got lots of questions myself, but I can see loads of the guys have, so I'm definitely going to go with these guys. So I got Chris Phillips has put, what was it like with teaming up with Alex Puzar and being a part of that Chesterfield team, and Donnie Schmidt? What were they like as teammates, Bob, as well?
Well, Alex was, he's super energetic, very charismatic. He's just the life of a party. You'd go to race. I remember going to one of the Grand Prix with him in Italy, and we drove in his Testarossa. It was just, the guy was mega. He was making huge amounts of money. He was an Italian superstar then. But he's such a friendly guy. I see him at MotoGP events. I haven't seen him probably for the last couple of years because of COVID, unfortunately. But him and I still get on really well. He's a really, really good guy. The character that he showed on the bike, and how aggressive he was and everything. He's just a really nice, good, solid guy. And with regards to Donnie, I learned a lot. In fact, I will say I probably would never have been a world champion if I hadn't met Donnie and lived and trained with him in 1992. So we took a house together in Longriano in Italy, and it was his wife and my wife and I, and we basically stayed in the same house. So we traveled to all the Grand Prix together. We trained together, and I just learned a lot from Donnie and how to train and how to push your body and focus and stuff like that. Obviously, it was kind of contentious towards the middle, towards the end, when I was pretty close to him in the championship. But he pretty much had my number all year, anyways. And he won a lot more Grand Prix, so he was clearly the champion that year. But amazing individual. That Donnie was someone special too.
He was very good starter, wasn't he? And he was very consistent as well. So
yeah.
Very cool. I've just got Tim Dobson here. Has put Rob Herring was deadly fast on his day. Do you think with luck and staying injury free, he could have won a world title himself?
100%. 100%. We would go to Grand Prix sometimes, and there was no one who could ride with Rob. It's a funny thing, I think that when it comes down to winning a championship, it's not. There's a dozen guys that have the speed to go, right? And you get to certain tracks, and you're just going to be better than not. A lot of others. I think it really just comes down to mentally being strong and never giving up, and just keep pushing forward on that. I'm not saying that Rob didn't have that, but he would clearly have events that he would go to, and you're like, what happened to him? It's like he wasn't even in the top 5, So I think that was kind of the downside. But clearly he had the ability to win a world championship, 100%.
I think maybe just the consistency was maybe his issue, but lightning speed on his day for sure.
Yeah.
So if we take it back a bit, what sort of age did you start on a bike? What sort of first bike did you have, and what was the reason? Did you have any family background, or did you just sort of stumble into it? Or?
So basically, I started riding at 6 years old.
Hmm.
My father rode as an amateur,
Hmm.
and he had a trailer manufacturing company. In the beginning, it was like campers and stuff like that, but then he ended up building a motorcycle trailer. We took it to the track. A lot of people loved it. Said, "Hey, can I buy that?" And it's like, "Well, it's mine, but okay, he'll buy it." He had sold it, and then he would go back and build another one. And sure enough, 3 months later, he started just building motorcycle trailers. So that's really how I got started. Was my dad worked as building a trailer, going to the racetrack, and we would sell the trailer, and he'd throw my bike in the back of the pickup on the way home, and we drove home. So that's kind of how I started. Obviously, it was just as a hobby in the beginning. I didn't really have any intentions to do anything other than I just loved to ride. Very fortunate to have property that I was able to ride every day. And so once I kind of got up into the 80s and started, it getting faster and faster, then sponsors started coming. And obviously then it just kind of snowballed from there. Finishing high school a bit early and going and being a professional right at the age of 17, really. And I raced the first year in America, 1985. That was the first year they did the Supercross championship with the West Coast and East Coast. And I did that. And then I think I was finishing 10th or so place in the outdoor nationals. And then I traveled over to Europe. It was kind of a weird story. Not a lot of people know this, but I had a 2-year contract with Suzuki, right?
Hmm.
And in 1985, my factory contract was $5,000 cash and bonuses. And I had to pay for everything else. So I had to pay for my mechanic. I had to pay for the travel. I had to pay for, getting us around all the nationals and everything else. I ended up winning the West Coast Supercross championship that year. And I was to get a $30,000 bonus from Suzuki. And at the very end of that year, they had an East Coast, West Coast shootout at the Coliseum. And I didn't win that one. I think I finished 4th or 5th. I don't know. I was nowhere really in the top, but I ended up finishing it. But I still got the championship. So I went to go ask for my $30,000 bonus because it would help me continue to race the next year. And Suzuki said, "No, we're not paying it. You had to win the East-West shootout." I'm like, so I could have stayed home all year and just raced that one last race, and you would have paid me. And they said, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay, well, forget it. What am I going to do? I'm not going to go sue Suzuki for that money, and I'd be blackballed anyways. And would never be able to race." So I just said, I came to them and I said, "Look, I can't continue. My dad's sold his company and he wants to get on and do something different in his life. He doesn't want to have to pay for me to go race. So I'm going to have to quit, or I have to find something else." And it was really, really fortunate that I was able to come do a race in Italy, Saporiti Italia race that I did for several years there. I did a few interviews just saying, well, I'd love to come back and race Grand Prix, because I'd already at that stage of my life, I wanted to do Grand Prix racing. And it was just the right place, the right time. A guy by the name of Roberto Galina said, "Look, I'm getting ready to run a race team in motocross. I have a road race team. I race Suzuki's, and I'll put you on a factory 125 Suzuki and we'll go race." I'm like, "Yay." So I called Suzuki and I went to Europe, and that was it. So
Wow.
it was kind of a point to where I maybe not even was able to race, but again, it was just kind of fate that kind of put everything together, and I was able to come and do Grand Prix racing.
Well, all us guys in the UK and Europe are glad that actually happened, because we got to see you all them years. So we appreciated you. That's for sure. This is a really cool memory here as well, Bob, by the looks of it. Dan Lloyd here has just put Fox Hills 94/95. Thank you, Bob, for throwing your jersey to me. I've still got it 26 years later.
Awesome. That's cool.
That's really cool. That's very cool.
Thanks, Dan. That's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah. I didn't often throw my jerseys out just because I didn't want it to get like something that, but if I really saw someone young and I liked, I looked out there and I saw someone that was really that would take care of it or whatever, I'd pass it on. So I'm glad that I was able to get somebody that came back that's kept it that long. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love that. I love that one. Got another one here. There's no name on it. They're not registered it, but it put, did you ever get over your arm pump problem in the GP first motos? And if so, how?
So maybe this
Mm.
question is more related to my opponent that year, which was Kiko Kyoto.
Mm.
That year, in 1994, Kiko
Mhm.
always had arm pump in the first motos.
Okay.
In
Yeah.
the second motos, he never. I don't know, I'm just called a blessed individual or to have rode a motorcycle. Maybe it was also because of the way that I rode. I was really light on the bike. I never once had arm pump
No.
ever. So I don't know. Even that was when I was racing these 40 minutes long motos. I just kind of figured out how to ride a bike that was a little easier to relax. And I think one of the ways I did that is when I came to Grand Prix racing in the '86. That was the 40 minutes plus
Mhm.
two.
Mm.
I would be deadly fast the first 20 minutes, but then after that, I'd be dead because I couldn't last. And I was super small and everything else
Yeah.
anyway. So
Yeah.
I literally had to change the way I rode a motorcycle
Yeah.
during, those years after. And I think that just helped me to where I never got arm pump. But yeah, anyways, that's a lot of
Very
people I
cool.
know experience arm pump and it's horrible. I can imagine, but I never dealt with it, not once.
That's interesting. I've got two of the guys, Adam Winslet here and Chris Phillips, have both asked the same question. Do you swing your leg over a bike anymore? And Chris put, when did you last ride?
Yes to both.
Okay.
I ended up going last winter and getting myself uh, a 250X. It's kind of
Okay.
an off-road motocross
Yeah. Yeah.
version.
Hmm.
That was the only way I could convince my wife because I said, "Hey, it's an off-road bike. I'm going to just go on the trails and stuff like that and stay off the motocross tracks because that is a danger point for me. I'm 55 years old now, and for me to go out and ride motocross, you don't forget how to go fast,
Mm.
but your body's
Yeah.
like, hey, we don't do these things anymore. You sit at the desk all day and type on a computer, so you're super, out of shape. So it's better I don't get on a motocross track, but I do ride. And now I live in Phoenix, Arizona now, and the weather's just amazing. So this is the perfect time to start going back out and riding with my buddies. But generally I go and ride just on trails and stuff.
What about the arms now then? Have you seen the arm pump now, or is that still okay? Or
I don't know. I guess it was just like I
wow,
said, I've been blessed with the ability to
unreal.
ride a motorcycle. I will say again, one of the scary parts that when I do ride in motocross, obviously just recently,
Yeah.
I noticed that I don't hang on very much, right? So especially decelerating, coming into corners and stuff like that, I just kind of relax my hands, and that helps me to not get any arm pump. But what that does also do is I've had a couple times where my hand will just fly right off the handlebar, and I almost crash, and I'm like, whoa. So it's just yeah. Again, sticking to trails and kind of easy riding is a lot better for me than getting
Yeah.
out on the track and trying to race around.
Oh, that's cool that you still get out and have a ride. That's cool. Got Ben Piggin on YouTube here. He's put, Bob, did you ever get offers to ride in the 500 GPs? Hmm.
No, I didn't. Nor was I really kind of searching for that. I was always pretty small and not really suited for a 500. I don't even think I rode a 500 many times. I rode most of my career on 125. I did 2 years in 250 class, which it was okay, but I was not fit for a 500 and hanging on to those things. Those were made for the big men out there for sure.
Yeah. I got Martin Neary here. I know he's got massive collections of shirts, unbelievable. Every rider you can think of, he's got a '92 Jersey Kings shirt, Foxhill, and a BFE shirt as well from '93. He's just asked as well, can you remember Payerne, Switzerland? You won the first moto and raced, and then race two in '92, and same
Mhm.
in '93. Awesome natural track. Remember it very well.
Yes.
What are your thoughts about that, Bob?
That track, and thanks for the
Mm.
question, because that actually was my favorite track in at
Ah.
all throughout
Mm.
my whole racing career. That track to me was the picture image of when I was growing up, 8, 9, 10 years old, seeing pictures of Roger DeCoster and all the guys over in Europe riding these loamy, cool tracks through the grass that was, it was picturesque. That's what actually really wanted me to come to Europe. And
Oh,
when I
wow.
rode that track, I really loved it. It was a true natural motocross track.
Yeah, very cool track. I remember that well. Got Kevin Wheeler here, my friend Kevin Wheeler here. We do motocross meetings together now, so it's quite cool. He's put, I remember watching him battling with Craig Pratley, the Brit, at Haverton Hall GP until Craig crashed big time and cleared the chestnut fencing. What was your thoughts on that track? Can you remember that track?
Let's see.
Hmm.
Chestnut. I remember Craig flying over the fence, but I don't really remember the track. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I do remember that incident because it was just, you never want to see anyone crash, and when they crash, you don't want to ever see them fly over the fence either. But
Yeah.
I don't remember the track so much. I maybe would have to go back and see a few pictures or whatever. Then I could figure it out. But I don't
Yeah.
remember the track so much.
I think it was quite fast and quite rough in the end as well, I remember, because I remember Stefan on there as well. But yeah, actually quite cool thing is that at our meeting that we just had a motocross meeting in September, and Craig Pratley came on a 250 Castrol Honda.
Oh, cool.
Very cool.
Nice.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was very good. Very good to see him. Very cool. Right, I've got Paul Byrne here on YouTube. He's put, evening, Bob and Lee. Have you kept any of your race bikes at all from Europe?
As I said in the
Yeah, you
earlier,
mentioned about that. Yeah.
was able to keep the Yamaha. Yamaha sent it to me to America, and that's the only bike that I was able to. I won the world championship once, so maybe if I got in the 250 class, another one, but that was the only one that I was able to keep. I do have my gear. One thing that I did a collection of was the team jackets. So every year that I raced professional in Europe, I just kept a jacket, those really cool jackets. And I didn't really keep all the gear. Of course, I have the 94 gear and 92 gear, but that's it. I don't have any of the other gear, especially even my last year. I don't have any of that either.
Very nice. I've got Mick Nurse here. Hi, Mick. He's put, hiya, Bob. In the two classes that you rode in that class, did you enjoy most the 125 or the 250?
I like the 125 the best. I think it probably suited my my size and my riding kind of lighter, riding style better. The 250 obviously was nice, plenty of power. I would often, that year in '92 when I rode with Rinaldi, my bike was super mellow. It was not an aggressive riding bike that a lot of other guys had, and it's just because of the way I rode. So plenty of power for me. I was always detuning those things and trying to get them faster.
Very nice. I remember you obviously on the 125 KTM. What was that bike like?
So my KTM, I would say probably the 1991 KTM bike. I think that's the picture there.
Yeah.
That was probably the fastest 125 I ever rode. Those motors that came straight from the factory that year, they built an engine that was just, it was like a cheater bike. I could start, you just had so much confidence on the starting gate that, you could even get a bad jump, and just because also I was light, I could just lean back and just click gears and pass everyone. So that bike was that was probably the fastest bike. Not that it handled or did, the other stuff better than my Yamaha, but that was a super fast bike.
Very cool. What about I was going to ask you obviously about the Suzuki when you went on that. What was the Suzuki 250 like?
So that one, I guess maybe the problem that I had was I was up against probably with, the greatest of all time, which was Stefan Evers. And that guy could ride anything. He could ride a pogo stick, and he would make it go fast. So for me, I tried to keep asking those guys to detune the bike. I know that's kind of sounds funny or weird, but the power band on that 93 Suzuki was too aggressive, and it didn't adapt well to my riding. Every time I would ask for kind of just an easier going bike, they just would refer, well, it works for Stefan. I'm like, yeah, okay, great. So I guess I just had to deal with it. And I had that big crash there in 90 in Fox Hill. And,
Yeah.
that was pretty much the time I just said, look, I'm moving off this thing, and going back either to 125 or getting on a different 250. So.
Fair enough. I got Gaza here on YouTube has put, Bob, is it correct when you were team manager in the USA that some of your riders were complaining about the bikes all the time and you got on one and beat their best lap times at the practice track?
Yeah, it's funny that it's actually it's a true story. I would go and do
Oh,
these. I was still quite fast in '97, right? When I retired, I still was winning Grand Prix. And when I went to America, they had quite young riders coming up into the 125 ranks. And basically, when I would go do outdoor testing, not Supercross, because I would stay away from that altogether, but outdoor testing, they used me for a lot of the times. And yeah, they couldn't beat me. Again, I didn't race, but they couldn't beat me. And so that was, it kind of helped, figure out like, hey, this bike's really not that bad. You got to learn to do this, that, and the other. And I guess it was kind of the time where the riders really looked at me as like someone more as a coach and someone that could help out. And maybe from a manager perspective, that's kind of how I really was able to adapt. Yeah, so that's true story. I was able to beat most of the guys most of the time and when I go to the tracks. But yeah, it was a fun time. But I was still riding quite a lot too. I had bikes at the house, and I was still riding quite a bit.
Love that. Dan Merrifield here. He's put, hi, Bob and Lee. What's your thoughts on the modern day MXGP tracks and riders? And he particularly loved the 90s watching Bob and the others.
Well, completely different eras, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I think in the 90s, if you looked at America versus Europe, especially in the 90s, I was always saying to the guys, even though the Trophy Nation teams and that, they went on that rant of winning guys, and clearly some really fast guys. But during that era, it was more like I was looking at it as like, look, Europe, these guys are fast. It's no joke. It's not. You're not coming to, from America over to Europe and winning in Grand Prix for sure. And I was a classic example. It took me 9 years to win a world championship. So it was tough. And I kept saying that, where a lot of people looked at me when I was in America. They said, oh, you went there because you couldn't really go fast in America. So you went to Europe. And I was like, kind of like, no, you guys don't really see this. I can see a different era coming up. And clearly you can see it today where America won't even go to the nations. I don't even think, because they're just going to get destroyed every time they go. But it's really, really fast right now. You cannot compare the two. It's way more. The guys in Europe are so much faster than the guys in the States on outdoors. So I'm just strictly talking world championship motocross. I'll tell you guys a kind of funny story. This kind of just happened about a month ago, where I don't manage Ken Roczen, but I'm pretty close with him and his manager, and his wife is a really good friend of ours as well. And they're thinking about maybe coming back to Europe and racing. And I love Ken. He's just a great guy. He's done a tremendous amount for the sport. He's an amazing person and an unbelievable rider and talent. But I quietly just told his manager, look, I kind of wish he'd just stay in the States, because if he wants to come over and do kind of what Villapolo did, it's kind of going to be probably the same outcome. The Hurlings and those guys, I mean, they are just at a different level. They are. And outdoor wise, there's no comparison. You can't compare the two. Now, Supercross is completely different. You could stick the Supercross guys, and they would just trump, the guys all the time. But the difference of the 90s and now is it's kind of like 90s. You had the American guys were still fast, but I really saw in the outdoors more guys were fast Europeans than they were America towards the latter part of the 90s. And now, it's just a complete flip altogether. There's obviously, you look at even our roster, that we have that are winning championships. I mean, one of our athletes Fernandez, Dylan, he's French, and he won over there, and now he's killing it over here. So
true.
It's even the Tomacs of those guys, I think they would really, really have a hard time winning Grand Prix nowadays with those guys over.
I think we sort of weren't sure about it until we saw sort of Herlings go over and do that outdoor national, and he literally come from way back as well. And
he crashed, was last, and he still won the race, and that's just he was just there having fun. So and that's on their home soil with their tracks and their everything. I think one of the things that maybe people don't understand, or people that really follow it a lot can see it, but the US tracks are almost identical, every single one of them. They're all disc to 12 feet deep, and they all get water, and they all have ruts and big bumps and huge jumps. But apart from Southwick, which is the only sand track that they have, every single track is about the same, every one. Where in Europe, you can still go to Grand Prix and you have different terrain. Yes, they are following a little bit more of the same pattern, but it's a different, in my era, you go to Payerne, Switzerland, and ride, the hard packed grassy hills, and then you'd go to Lommel, and completely 15 feet of sand whoops, and you can't compare those two. And then you go to Italy and you're riding on blue groove, hard, fast, slippery ground. So it's just a completely different element altogether.
Yeah, for sure. I've got Elliot on here. Hi, Elliot. He sells some amazing bikes. One on there on his profile, a 500 Honda there. He's put, hi, Bob. Who was the wildest rider on the track and in the paddock back in the 92 GPs?
Oh, easy. That was Mike Healey. He was the wildest kid that, he was complete opposite of me. We actually are, still talk. We're friends. He's a great guy. But he was the tattooed kid, the guy that just rock and roll, long hair, going crazy, hanging out at the beer tents, that whole thing. So that was an easy one. Mike Healey.
Yeah. He must have had some fun times with him as a teammate. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you kind of live through him on some of his wild side things that he would do. Obviously, I wouldn't partake in a lot of those things, but he was a good guy. And a lot of people think that he was just wild all the time. He wasn't. Obviously, some of it was a show for him, and because he knew that people loved it, and that's one of why he was so marketable as well, is because people just really liked seeing Mike, being just crazy Mike, that was what they thought America was. Complete opposite of me, So it's funny.
I've had a couple of interviews with him actually, so it was quite fun as well. That was very cool.
Yeah.
I've got I think this guy's called, I remember he's called, I want to pronounce it right, I think his name's Ariel. He's put, hello friends, we saw each other in Argentina year 89 and in California several times. Greetings from Panama. So,
awesome. Thank you. Hello, how are you? Good to see you, or good to hear from you.
I've got someone asking for a shout out. Peter James Jeffrey is a big fan of the GPs in the 80s and 90s. He's put, can you do a proper hello to Fireblade Pete Jeffrey?
Hey, Fireblade Pete Jeffrey, how you doing? Thanks for joining. Hope you guys are having a good time, and keep watching Lee. He's doing some great shows.
Thanks, mate. What riders did you look up to? Any riders when you were young, Bob? When you were sort of starting out?
Absolutely. My, early on was Marty Smith. That was, right when I was growing, just in the 60s and 80cc bikes. And then, for me, the legend was Roger DeCoster. And then during racing, by far the most talented rider, even to this day, in my opinion, was Jean-Michel Bayle. That guy could do stuff on a motorcycle that no one else could ever even come close. And just for him to go from, winning national and Supercross championships in the States and world championships in America, and then going and doing road race and getting fast I think he got pole position one time in Czech Republic. I mean, it's like completely different. Yes, they're two wheels and they have an engine, but comparing road race to motocross and doing even remotely good at both is just unbelievable. So Yeah, Jean-Michel Bale, all time for me.
Beautiful. I think a lot would agree with that as well. Who were your sort of, did you enjoy racing with in Europe the most? Was there guys you enjoyed racing with, and was there guys that you didn't enjoy racing with so much, were a bit crazy on the track, or you always seemed to come together on the track?
Yeah,
Things like that.
that's actually a good question.
Mm,
I I never really had, and I guess this is kind of on purpose. I looked at it this way. I got on the line and I would just want to kill everyone. Now, obviously, you're there to win, and there's some guys that are faster sometimes. There's a lot of guys that aren't, and I just looked at it as look, if I want to be friends with as many people as I can, because if they know that I'm coming up through and I'm nice to them when I pass, then the next time I come up to pass, they're going to be easy. Now, obviously, certain guys would be riding them more aggressive than not, and sometimes you had to get in a little bit deeper with that. But
mhm,
I kind of just looked at it as like I think it's better to be friends than have enemies,
mm,
because especially when you're coming up, or you're going after a championship, those guys could mess with you another 2 to 3 laps, and that just would mean that you would be, that many places behind and just lose points. So I looked at it very simply as like, look, just try to be friendly with as many guys as you can and get around as many guys as you can as fast as you can.
yeah, makes sense. Did you have any superstitions throughout your career at all? Some of the guys have got some crazy ones that I spoke to, but I don't know if you had any.
Maybe early on. I wouldn't even
Mm,
say superstitious, but you get
mm,
into routines, right? You
yeah, of
put
course, yeah.
one leg on
Structure,
first, you
yeah.
put a boot on this way, and I didn't have any magic underwear. I just basically kind of looked at that as like, look, if you really think about that, it's so hard to have everything perfect, right? If you win a race and you have all of the same gear and all this, I mean, you can't mimic that, right? You can't breathe at the same time. The the, the clock on the wall is not the same time, so it's just too hard. You just kind of, for me, I just kind of gave up on it and said, look, I'm just going to go out. Hopefully, I'll have a good race, safe race, and go on to the next one.
Before you sort of your last year or so in Europe, what was this bike like? What was that like on that team?
It was good. Magic bike. Those
Magic.
guys treated me really well.
Yeah.
The bike was, kind of the offshoot of what I did with Rinaldi,
Mm,
where we kind of did the 125 versions, this Michele Rinaldi kit bikes that they had. So that was, in a sense, the bike that kind of was just grown from 94 into 97.
mhm.
And it was a good running bike. Suspension, as you see in that picture, I still had the Öhlins forks, where they were going back over to the upside down already at the time. But I just really like the stableness of that conventional fork that Öhlins did that year, and I kept it for a long time.
Yeah, very nice looking bike as well. I've got Paul Byrne here on YouTube. But when was the last GP you flew out over to watch? And if so, where was it at?
Well, that would have been the last Grand Prix in MotoGP, which was just a few weeks ago in Valencia. I haven't been to a World Motocross event in a while, but I'm happy to say I just hired a new kid to help me, a new guy, Jeremy DeBreeze. He worked with me back in 2012 to 2014 when we had Stephen Frassard and a bunch of the other motocross riders. He's now building, and actually, was the original manager of Dylan. So he's now working with us starting this month, and he's going to help build our motocross roster again. And I'm going to do my best to come back to some motocross Grand Prix this year, because I do miss them. I do miss seeing the people, and obviously when you're travel to Europe for so long and see so many people, it's nice to come back and see them and really get reconnected.
And by the way, Ian, yes, we have talked about the Fox Hill, so you can catch up with that later. Kevin, were you disappointed in not making Team USA for the Motocross the Nations, especially when you won the world title?
Honestly, yes. I felt that I had proved that I could do a good job. I don't know. Obviously, it was one of those things. Still, I was really debating with a lot of the guys in America, just saying, nah, the Europe riders are not fast and blah blah blah. And obviously that year was, I gave my bike to Paul Malin, and Paul Malin ended up going out and kicking in USA's butt on that bike. So, it was kind of like, I kind of told you so. If maybe I had that
Yeah.
bike, I would have done a little bit better, but who knows? I mean, that was a really special track as well. I think it really suited the Euro riders better than the Americans. And, but hey, yes, I was a little bit bummed because I felt if any year that would have been a good year for me, but I understand. I mean, the riders that they had were amazing and very talented.
I'm just trying to keep on time. I think we got 10 minutes. Is that right, Bob? Are we good?
Yeah,
10
I
minutes?
actually, my meeting got pushed a little bit further back, so I can go a little bit longer if you want.
Okay. Yep. Beautiful. Thank you very much. What track or event that you raced at, Bob, would you say was the best atmosphere that you ever raced in? I imagine there was quite a few, but.
Probably one of the best ones was Maggiora, Italy.
Yep.
The Italian fans, especially being that I lived there, I towards the latter part of my once I moved in 1991, I learned the language. I think maybe that they kind of embraced me a little bit more. I wasn't just that American guy, so I just love the atmosphere there. I mean, the fans in Europe in general are nothing like they are here. They're so much better in Europe. It's hard to explain. I go to Grand Prix racing all the time, and you just see the fans that you would see even in Formula One or MotoGP here in America, and then you see the fans the way they are in Europe. It's just they're more passionate, 100%. They're just more into it. It's just they live for it. It's awesome, and that is probably the number one thing that got me just so into racing in Europe. When I came over and did the Grand Prix that year, it was just so amazing. I didn't do that well a lot of races, but some of the races I did do pretty good, and just the fan support was so cool to see. So
over the years, have you had any? You've had a lot of nice racing gear. Did you have any specific racing gear that you liked yourself personally?
Well, my racing gear in '94, again, that black, yellow, red, color scheme that Chesterfield had was by far still, I think, the best. I would even put it on par to some of the stuff that they have today. I like that color scheme. It just went really, really well. It's cool because no one else had that bike, right? Or no one had that color scheme either. So you knew every single time you saw it. It's kind of like when you see MotoGP racing, some of the other bikes will look kind of close, but then you see the Suzukis where that color blue that they have, you just know where the Suzukis are. Yeah. That color scheme in especially in '92 when we were all white, again, that was a completely special deal. And this one here with the black in '94 was really cool.
In a sort of a watching a meeting capacity, what was can you sort of think of a favorite atmosphere that you had when you were actually there watching?
Yes, it was 1986 Maggiora, Italy, watching the Destinations, watching Johnny Mara and Bailey, and that was, I mean, I was already there, so it was really cool being kind of. I wasn't a part of the team USA at any time, but I was able to kind of hang out with the guys and watch the races on top of the truck and stuff, and visit with DeCoster and everyone. That was cool. And anytime that you can see anytime you can see a motocross race, a Donations motocross race, they're by far the best racing. I wish they would have 10 a year. I wish they would have one in, or at least one in America and one in Europe every year. That'd be just super cool. Because it's just there's nothing like it. You get the tension you feel and the atmosphere, the rate, even here in America when they came the last couple of years ago. I mean, it was awesome. It was a mud fest, but it was really, really cool.
Yeah, I was at the Motocross Nations Mud Fest at Fox Hill, '98, I think it was, and Matley was really cool when Everts beat Bubba Stewart as well. It was quite cool.
Yep.
Very good atmospheres, as you said. Everyone loves the Nations. Obviously, a lot of the riders, it's part and parcel, get a lot of injuries. Did you have any injuries during your career that you feel stopped you from maybe winning more, or doing better at certain
You know,
times?
it is part of racing motocross, right? It's not a question of if, it's when you crash.
Yeah, yeah.
I I was just telling this story yesterday.
Mm.
During my 13 years being professional, I broke a bone every single year, at least one.
Yeah.
Fortunately for me, in '94, when I won the world championship, it was not until December I was at the Bologna Motor Show doing a Supercross race and got hit, run over, and broke my leg. So that was kind of a bummer. But would I say it kind of derailed me or stopped me from racing? No, but the part when I got the opportunity to come back to America and take a new job, it was just one of those things where after you get injured and then you have to start over. I mean, you train your tail off to get fit to ride motocross, and then literally a crash that you break your wrist or hand or whatever, a small break, and it just takes everything away. You got to start from ground zero after 2 weeks. So that was the bummer part. That's the part that really was like, wow, to get the motivation to build yourself back up was the toughest part for my racing period.
We obviously know that you actually won a Supercross title. Did you like the Supercross side of things? Was it always favorite for you to do the outdoors motocross?
It was. If I'm honest, I didn't really like Supercross so much. I was fortunate to win the title the first year, but it was not because I was the fastest by all means. I mean, you can look at the results and you can see that I only won one race. And it was because everyone around me just crashed because they were trying to jump these crazy doubles and, would fly off the track. And I would just kind of cruise around and was consistent. It was kind of my MO, my whole racing career really. But I just saw that during the early mid '80s, right, when I turned professional, it was like I could really see that was the future in America, that you had to be good at Supercross. Otherwise, you weren't going to really be considered on one of the factory teams. And for me, I had this passion and love for outdoor. And just that was kind of really what I wanted to focus on. So, yeah, when I got the opportunity in 1996 to go, I was full steam ahead. I went and lunged for it.
Thank the Lord on that. You mentioned your favorite track in Europe. What did you have a favorite track when you was a youngster in the USA, and did you have one as an adult in the USA that you liked over in the?
I think the track when I just turned from amateur 125 to pro 125, the track that I went to and rode at often was a place called Indian Dunes in Southern California, and they kind of had a couple of different tracks. That was my first pro race that I did. I won, so I guess that was kind of my favorite. It was easy to get to. It was like 20-minute drive, from where I lived and close to the high school I went to. So that was probably my favorite track in America, anyways.
Tim Coleman here has put, what was your best team and bike? Was it KTM or Yamaha or Suzuki? Go on, you can say, nobody's listening.
Yeah. Well, I'll say, so like I was telling you before, the coolest bike that I had by far was my 1987 Mugen Honda. That white bike, I don't know if you got any pictures of that thing anywhere, but that was the coolest bike. It had a carbon fiber front, like number plate that wrapped around the forks. That bike was the coolest bike, I think. The fastest bike was my 91 KTM by far. That thing was just a rocket, just not even close to anything else. And the best overall probably package bike was my 94 Yamaha. And just because it wasn't the fastest, but it handled the best. And obviously when you win a world championship, you're going to maybe favor that one as well. So that's that, kind of all the bikes. The Suzuki was good too. Don't get me wrong. The 86 125 wasn't very fast, but it was really good handling bike. And then the 93 bike, when I rode against Stefan, was super fast, but I just couldn't control it. I was too slow, and I was going up against Stefan, he's just a unbelievable talent rider anyway. So it was tough to compare.
Who were your actual closest friends in and around the paddock over the years? And was it easy to sort of block them friendships out once you were out on the track and stuff like that?
Friendship, I was probably closest friends with the Chamberlains that did a lot of the videos back in
Yeah,
the 90s.
Motorvision. Yeah.
Yeah, the Motovision. Those guys, I was closest friends. I was friends with all family and just amazing
Okay.
people.
Yeah.
They weren't on the track, obviously racing with me, but
Mm.
again, I would say, even though he was a really strong component of mine, and competitor of mine, Donnie Schmidt, I was pretty close with. Again, we lived in the same house in 1992 together with him and his wife, and my
Yeah.
my wife and I.
Yeah.
Um, so I got to know him really well. He was a complete training freak. Like, he measured his food, never had chocolate or sugar or anything like that. I mean, I really learned a lot from him. And he was really competitive. Obviously, anything we go on mountain bike rides, he'd have to try to beat me there, or running or whatever. It was just always a competition. But um, Mike Healey, I was really close with as well, just because him and I were both, being American and from California and all. Who else? Bader Monet.
Mm.
Bader was a really cool guy. Still lives in Italy. Trampus
Yeah.
Parker as well. I've
Yeah.
got a lot of friends that I still keep in contact with during my time, and again, that's having the beauty of this amazing job to be able to travel to Europe and see a lot of the guys that I was friends with back in the day. Actually, the boss, when I won my 1994 championship, the boss of Yamaha was Lynn Jarvis, and I still, talk and hang out with him now. I mean, I was fortunate enough to
Yeah.
bring Darren Binder and do a contract directly with Yamaha, from bringing him went from Moto 3 straight into MotoGP next year. So
Wow.
having those relationships,
Mm.
100% were, it was a lot easier for me to do that instead
Mm.
of trying to learn new faces and everything. So that's what I take out of that. I mean, I had a lot of good friends, and still do, right, in Europe.
Very cool. Got Martin Near has put, Bob, have you heard of the Isle of Man TT? Would you like to watch it? My favorite motorcycle race on planet Earth. It's unbelievable.
Yes, of course, I know the Isle of Man very well. I was fortunate enough to manage Cal Crutchlow, who I then told at the time. I said, if you ever plan on doing that race, I will quit, because that is, I think it's one of the gnarliest and hardest races. Crazy, because of what they have to do and how perfect they have to be on that course. But there's no room for error, right? I mean, it is the most dangerous race of all time, because if you have an incident, normally things aren't going well for you. There's no runoffs or anything like that. But I do look up to those guys. That is one of those ones. It's kind of like in surf, you have those big wave surfer guys that just go out in these 100-foot waves, and it's just crazy. That's what I look at the TT. It is amazing
Yeah.
race. I haven't had the pleasure to go and watch, but I do plan on one day going to an event and seeing it first, up close and personal.
Yeah, definitely. It looks crazy fast, and I'm sure that's a thrill for sure. Do you have any actual regrets at all from your career? Any teams you wished you'd have maybe? Did you have any offers from other teams that you wish you maybe had gone to? Did you actually have any offers any other teams anyway?
I Yes, I did have,
Mm.
probably the only one that kind of comes to mind was
Hmm.
1991 Japan. I won the last Grand Prix in Japan, and I
Hmm.
started speaking with the team manager of Kawasaki US, and they offered me a ride to come race 125 and Supercross with Kawasaki in
Hmm.
1992. I was seriously considering that, although what kept me from not doing it was I'd only finished second twice. I finished second in 90 and 91, and didn't win my world championship. And I was dead set that I needed to win a world championship before I would consider going back to America. So I said no to that. Do I regret it? Probably not, because again, if I would have gone that route, I wouldn't have won my world championship, and I would never give up that, ever. So I don't have any regrets. I look at things as kind of a stepping stone, and kind of, sometimes some years are going great and other ones are not. And it just helps build your character and everything else. And I think there's a reason that, for this. And, again, if I would have taken that opportunity and raced in America in 1992, I wouldn't have probably then gone into this career that I have in Europe and doing MotoGP and Supercross, motocross over in Europe. So
Adam's just mentioned it as well. I did have a question about that, to say about if you could say who are the top 3 motocross riders that you've ever raced against. Who would you put up there as those guys?
It was Jean-Michel Bayle. He completely annihilated me in 1989 when I raced against him in the 125 class. Stefan Everts, he was just crazy fast and super consistent, and then probably Donnie Schmidt. Those would be my 3 guys. Obviously, they the latter two took 2 titles from me. Or I didn't take them. I didn't earn them, but they, I finished second to Donnie twice, and Stefan, I finished second to him once, in my championships. But they were just, they were the top 3 for sure.
Not sure. We've got Dave King on here. Hi, Dave. Not sure if you knew all about the Farley, the vet stuff that's been over in Farley over the years in the UK. Now it's moving over this year to Fox Hill this August bank holiday 2022. So hopefully one year you can get Bob over, Dave. That would be really cool.
Yeah, I've actually been offered to come and do those. It's one of those things where it's the competitiveness in me that it's so hard to get out and ride and have fun when you're on a track, and especially that, those tracks are amazing, and it'll just bring back memories from back in the day. And I'm sure I just whiskeyed it, throttled too much, and I'll end up flying over the handlebar someplace and hurting myself. So that's one of the things that kind of deters that. Although to come and just see it and smell the gas and see all the people, and that would be cool. I definitely would like to try to venture to see that one day for sure.
Because they have done sort of just so that where they do like a lap where you sort of go around almost like a legend, sort of like a victory lap type of thing and things like that. So it'd be very cool to see someone like yourself over there for sure. I'm sure. Here you go, Dave. Get onto it.
I mean, you have your legends, and then I don't consider myself a legend.
Trust.
If you look at what those guys have done in multiple championships and stuff, and I was just very fortunate being at the right place at the right time and being able to ride a motorcycle for a living for a while. I really don't consider myself one of those guys. I mean, they really outdid from a result standpoint on track than much more than I did.
Here we go, Dave. There's one. I think you should get on the phone for this one. Try and convince Rob to come over. That'd be very cool. Obviously, you won the world title in '94 after coming vice champion a few times. Close, obviously. That must have been a massive thing for yourself. Must have been unbelievable, special.
It was. It was a dream come true. That whole year, it was just easy. Since from the start of the year when I got on the bike and was training in California to when I went over, started doing the preseason races and stuff, everything clicked. Well, you ask, I would sure maybe if you asked Jeffrey Hurlings about the title this year, it wasn't easy, but that one was just easy for me. I felt that I had everything clicking. I felt that I had the speed to win. I won the majority of the races. So it was that year was amazing. It was a dream come true. And again, after that, being that I waited for 9 years before winning that championship, it was kind of like, it wasn't a small weight off my shoulders. It was like the whole world off my shoulders. I dreamt of that day, crossing the finish line and being world champion. So it was just an amazing experience. I mean, I see video of it, and I have a few pictures on the wall of just that time anyways. And it's just, I'll never forget it.
Yeah, it's totally special. Have you got any funny stories that you can that you're able to tell us on the screen?
Funny story. I'll share one with Donnie Schmidt.
Okay.
we were traveling to Austria for the 250 Grand Prix in Austria that year, Schwanestadt. It was and we traveled together in the same car. And I went there. This was in the beginning, probably the fourth or fifth race of the season that year. I think I podiumed or I got fourth or something. I did pretty well. I beat Donnie anyways, and it made for a pretty interesting ride home. He drove,
Okay.
so it was like it was so funny because he was so mad that I won, that I beat him, and
Yeah.
we were going back, and he was having a tough time that season. Anyways, at the start of the season, and we went to this gas station, and right, mind you, this is a guy that literally would measure his food, no chocolate, no sugar, salads, and just raw, have chicken cooked a certain way. And I mean, he was just psycho with that. Right. So we pull into this gas station. I'm like, I'm filling up with gas. And he's like, I'm over it. And he slams the keys against the windshield and walks out into the Easy Mart. Right. They had the little mart where you can buy food and stuff like that. And he goes in to the little place. He comes out with a big, huge can of Coca-Cola and a Snickers bar. And you would have thought like he was coming out with a cocaine in his nose and a needle in his arm. Like that was like super. I'm like, Donnie, what are you doing? He's like, I can't, well, I'm over this. I'm having this. And, I'm just over it. I'm going to drink a beer when I get home. And I'm like, oh man, you're losing it. And in the back of my mind, I was like, oh yes, I think I'm going to get this guy this year. But that was kind of a funny story. It was just something that, I never saw him do. And my wife was kind of also just like, oh my gosh, he's losing it. But it was, actually, I think the next two races after that, he went all 6 motos. He won. Like he went just crazy. So whatever, maybe it was one of those things that he needed. But that was probably a funny story I remember to this day.
As soon as we had that conversation about thing about legends, look, Kevin, one of the biggest legends. When I think of the 90s, I think of you 100%. So legend is an understatement. Such a humble legend. Dave King said Bobby undersells himself massively. What he achieved at that time in the class was groundbreaking for America and a total legend. Everyone's been
appreciate it. Thank you.
Very
That was
cool.
very nice. Very nice. But again, I don't know. I mean, I really honestly don't put myself in those positions of those guys. I have been very fortunate. And I just like, I had a great time, and I still, like I said, I still am fortunate enough to travel to Europe and see a lot of people and talk with. I love the sport, and I've just been blessed to be involved with it so long, and that's the beauty. I don't consider myself even having a job now. I get to do, manage athletes that race for a living, and that's, it's the best job in the world.
How are you for time, Bob? I don't want to overshoot my.
I probably see. Hang on one second.
No problem.
I've got about another 10 minutes or so.
Okay, beautiful. I'll just keep going for it. What other sports do you like watching, Bob? Is there any others you like watching or even doing?
I love golf. I know it's completely different than
Okay,
motocross, but I do love golf. I even like watching golf. We as a company, we work, as Wasserman, we have a really big golf roster as well. So it's really cool to follow and do. Not strenuous on the body as motocross is, but that's the sport I enjoy doing for sure.
Just have my missus has come on saying I know nothing about motocross, but I could listen to Bob all night.
Okay. Oh, thank you.
Oh, I love it. She's loves it. What has been your most memorable race, would you say, in your whole career? I know it's hard to put that down to one race, but is there one that still stands out massively for you now, even in?
Probably. Well, I kind of hate to go back at the race to win the world championship, but I think that one was, again, to kind of build up on this, the Belgium race that I did in 1994. Again, building, 9 years, coming second a few times, 3 times, never winning a world championship, lifelong goal. I had a good points lead, but still anything can happen in the last race. And
Yeah, definitely.
I did that, and there was a 2-week break between Fox Hill, which I had a chance to win the championship there. If I beat Kiko in that second moto, I was world champion there, which would have been great too, but it didn't happen. So I went that whole 2 weeks and I said, if there's one thing I'm going to do in these 2 weeks, I'm going to practice my starts, because all I need to do is get a good start in one moto and just hold on, for whatever. I think I needed to get like 10th or something like that. And then I would have won the world championship. So I think that race still, I just concentrated everything that I had on the start. And when I pulled the whole shot, it's almost like I didn't even take a breath. I went the fastest that I could possibly do for that entire 30 minutes plus two. I pulled out a big lead. I didn't slow down. I was like, I can't slow down. I can't lose focus. And so that was probably the best, completely exhausting, because I went out and won the race, and just to come across the finish line out of that right-hand corner and going across the finish line and just seeing a crowd of people and, stopping and getting thrown up in the air. And I mean, that is just, yeah, it's not even a comparison to any other race.
Chris Phillips just come on and said, Bob inspired me through my younger years when I was racing amateur motocross, my hero.
Oh, cool.
We loved you in the UK, Bob, for sure. Oh, Dave King's just come back on. He's put, there is a black Chesterfield Yamaha under Doc Wobb's awning at the VMX the Nations Fox Hill with Bobby's number on it for a Legends lap. One more lap, Bobby, please.
All right. Well, who knows? If my schedule, I'm obviously this whole COVID thing has really jacked things up for me the last couple of years, or even just this year. Travel's been horrendous, but I'm hoping to come over, and my wife and I are looking to try to get a place to stay in Europe for a month, so I don't have to go back and forth from the U.S. But if my travel schedule allows it, and I can tie it into MotoGP and a motocross, I'll be there.
Okay, brilliant. There we go. So we'll see what happens with that then. That'd be interesting. Dan Merrifield put, who would you put your money on next season to be champion in the MXGP and the AMA and the Supercross and outdoor, I presume that means?
Well, that's I think that if you look at the MX side of things, I mean, between Geyser and Hurlings, I think those are just the two standouts for me, just because they're super fast, and they're amazing. So I think between one of those two, maybe with Hurlings, he's got maybe the edge, but he's also had some injuries, unfortunately, too, that he's had to deal with. So I'd probably maybe go a little bit more towards Geyser on that one. In the US, it's funny. I was over in California talking shop with a bunch of the guys, and everyone was kind of throwing their picks in Supercross. I think I'm going to take Kenny to win the title. I think he's got the raw talent and speed, and if he can stay healthy, I think he's going to be probably the guy to beat. But Dylan is going to be crazy fast too. I know he's going to be a rookie, but I don't really look at him as a true rookie going into that class. He's just a little bit older. He's amazing talent in Supercross, so I think that Dylan could be really fast too. From the outdoor standpoint, I would just say Dylan's going to be the guy to beat. He just showed that he was a true class above everyone else this year in the MX Nationals, and I think he will be the guy to beat again next year for sure.
And obviously, you mentioned that you had the close relationship and dealings with Roczen. Obviously, what he went through with that injury as well. There's a lot of people that would like to see him go and win that. It must have been a traumatic time. Obviously, did you sort of know what was going on as well at that time? And
I did. Again, his wife worked with us in Wasserman for a long, long time, so I have a really good relationship with her and Kenny. I was fortunate enough to go to their wedding last year. I think 2 years ago. So it was a bummer to see what he was dealing with all the injuries and stuff like that. The transformation also that he's made from having to ride the bike different. not a lot of people understand that if you watch video of him riding before the accident and then after the accident, he's had to really move his whole arm, which again just throws your whole back and shoulders and everything else off a lot more. That's why I really think that this year, because it's been what 3 years I think since his accident, I think that's kind of how long it was going to take for him to learn to adapt to everything and get himself fit. He still has this weird, I don't know what it is that affects him when it gets hot outside. It just affects his blood differently. I had that as well. Not a lot of people know that, but in Grand Prix racing, when I was in doing, racing when it was really hot outside, it really affected me. And I think I didn't take blood work and stuff to find out what I was, needing. But I think different athletes, different riders are affected differently when it comes to the heat. And maybe it just has some weird thing that just affects him differently. Now, going back to prior to the injury that he had in Anaheim, when he got that, it was basically the chalk or that stuff that they were putting down on the ground to kind of soak up the water that kind of got into his bloodstream and stuff. I think that's what they were saying that had an issue with him. Going before that, I can't remember him having any problems riding in the heat. So maybe it was just, maybe it was from that, but yeah, I don't know. I hope it's all behind him. And I hope he has a good, season this year.
Yeah, for sure. I'd like to see him do well. Adam Winslet, 2-stroke or 4-stroke?
2-stroke for sure. It's one of those things. I think it's a rider's bike. You have to be, you just have to stay on the pipe. You have to accelerate the right way, coming in and out of corners. It just makes you a better rider, I think. Although I have a 4-stroke in my garage. So, I love riding that. I love just sitting on the kickstand and pushing a button and starting and taking off. It's so, the bikes are so much better now than when I rode, when I raced. So that part I really enjoy too.
I don't know this either. I'm not sure if you rode there. Ian's put, did you ride no more? I'm not sure if you did or not.
No, they just had, I think they had a few 250 Grand Prix there, but I wasn't in the class that year. But primarily it was on the 500. So no, that was one of the tracks I really wished I could have rode out, because it wasn't a really deep sand track or anything like that. It was just kind of an all around, going by the bar and down the street and all that. That's just cool. Really cool.
Very unique, that's for sure. Did you try any other motorcycle sports? Did you ever try Speedway? Obviously I do a lot of stuff with the Speedway guys.
No, I didn't.
No?
I had a couple good friends of mine that did Speedway, but I never got a chance to do it. I did do flat track, but more kind of growing up, doing different. There's a mini Olympics in Florida every year where you had to do cross country, flat track, and then motocross. I think they had like a supercross combo type thing as well. And that was fun. You put the slick tires on and go, slide around the corners and stuff. I enjoyed that, but that was really the only other thing I did on 2 wheels.
If you could give any advice to any youngster out there that's racing the youth motocross, they're always looking for the advice. What would your advice be to them guys that would want to go pro from like the youth side of things?
Never give up on yourself. If you truly have the talent and ability, then keep working and keep believing in yourself, and it'll come. I have the fortunate side to work with a lot of young riders now, and it's just amazing to just give them some advice on those type of things and to never give up. Racing is one of the hardest sports in the world. I think it is. Motocross is the hardest sport in the world, and it's one of those things where a little teeny negativity can blow your whole game off, and you really have to believe in yourself and work hard. That's really what it comes down to.
Martin's just asked me, Bob, why did you always use the Smith roll-off goggles? Did you get paid directly, or was it part of your team sponsors, etc., when you rode with KTM Yamaha?
Smith Goggle Company was the longest sponsor that I had. I raced with them from even 80s, and I had an endorsement deal directly with the factory there in Idaho. They're a great company, and I use the roll-offs all the time because I didn't want. I was so used to it, and yes, the tear-offs. If it was kind of muddy, I would typically put 2 tear-offs on and then go back to the roll-offs. But I just love the roll-off system. It just worked for me. I knew I never would run out, and I didn't have to worry about tear-offs, because this is obviously in the early part of my career. That this was before the laminate, so you couldn't stick up a whole bunch. These were thick ones that looked like you could hardly see out if you stuck 5 tear-offs on. So
yeah. I'm not sure if it's the same in America now, but in the UK, a lot of them are not allowed to use the laminates and stroke tear-offs anymore. It's because of the environment and things like that. I'm not sure if they do that in America now, or is that?
I don't think so. I think they are trying to get more and more guys, using the roll-offs. But Supercross, I don't see it. These guys are just, they're on a just really minute edge all the time. The only time they get to really relax at all is when they're clearing the triple, and that's oftentimes when they're grabbing a tear off and they need it. So I don't know of anything. I knew that they were trying to get some kind of a thing with that, but I don't know of anything here in America.
I'll just ask you this quick before we go. I really appreciate your time, mate. What's your thoughts about these electric bikes that we've been hearing, and Honda's sort of mentioned a few others?
I think it's, at the end of the day, it's the thing of the future. We will have them. They are coming. It's just a matter of time. It's one of those things where when it went from 4-stroke went from 2-stroke to 4-stroke, it's just kind of the transition. You're going to see more and more manufacturers come out with them. We've got a really big the Moto E series in MotoGP. Just announced a big deal with Ducati to do their new battery system that they're taking from Porsche. So that's, I think, again, road race is maybe a little bit further ahead than it is in the motocross side, but you're going to eventually see it, right? I mean, it's the Yamahas and Hondas and the KTMs. They're all going to come out with these bikes, and then it's going to follow on the motocross side. And once they figure out how to last that battery, for a good amount of time, then you'll see it even coming. I don't know how quick it's going to come, but I would say in the next, road race, you're going to see probably a hybrid version similar to what Formula One has done, probably in the next 5 years, maybe even sooner.
Yeah. Wow. Absolutely. Trust me, Bob, you're a legend. You're absolutely loved in Europe and in the UK especially. Really appreciate your time. I'm so chuffed to get to speak to you personally. Unbelievable. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Lee. Thank you for having me, and keep up the great work. Thanks for having me again, and I really look forward to the next time we can meet, and hopefully I can come over to the UK and do that lap. That'd be fun. Yeah,
it would be super cool. Hopefully we can make that happen. That'd be great to see you. Thanks ever so much, Bob. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Cheers. Talk to you later.
Thank you, buddy. Bye. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. Wow, what a ledge. Massive legend, Bob Moore. What a guy. Such a nice guy. I know he was very well known for being a really nice guy on the GP set, on the tour, as it were. I've heard a lot of stories about him in engaging with fans and things like that over the years at Fox Hill, obviously, where I was there in my hometown, Swindon, obviously. And he's never heard a bad story about Bob Moore, that's for sure. What a guy he is. I literally just said that, as you said. I actually had it written down. Look, what's your thoughts on the prospect going electric? Great minds know what, Ian. No problem, Mick. Absolute pleasure is all mine with Mr. Bob Moore. What another legend. I got to speak to him a long time ago. I didn't realise how long ago. It was about a year ago when I was first doing the Skype ones. He was the only person I did a Zoom one with, which I didn't have a clue what I was doing. But it was amazing. But to get him on the live with the fans is the main thing, so everyone can ask their own questions. Is really cool to be able to do. Thanks to Mr. Winslet sorting me out with StreamYard. It definitely takes it on to another level, so the fans can get to speak to their heroes. What a blast! Thank you, well, great. Yeah, 100%. Such a nice guy, well spoken, great guy. What a proper legend. Totally, like you said, he's sort of such a nice guy. Just plays it down and everything. Thank you, guys. Thanks everyone for saying nice things. Awesome to be able to see it. What a legend. Thanks, Dan. Yeah, very nice bloke. Even the missus says brilliant, so we know we're doing well. Thanks, Elliot. Doing some great stuff over with your, I'm sure it's called Trader something. I don't want to get that name wrong, but he does some great bikes. If you want to go and check that out, if you see Elliot there on Facebook, he's got his, I'm sure it's called Trader. I'm just trying to remember what the rest of the name was. Trader, wasn't it? I know it's Trader, Elliot. See your bikes. Very cool. Go and check them out. That's made my nightly. Proper thank you. Yep. No worries, buddy. I'm glad I got your shout out. It's cool to do. Thank you very much, David. Appreciate that. Thank you. Yes. Well, this one's always enough for me. I'm pathetic, Martin. Trust me. Be useless with the lads at the pub. I'd be eating packets of crisps after one, and that'd be it. That's it. MX Bike Trader. I knew it was Trader something. I always look at them. It's great to see you, bike. No problem, buddy. No problem at all. You do a great job. Do some amazing bikes. He does all the sorts of bikes, new bikes, some amazing Super Evo and Evo bikes he's got on there. So check that out on the MX Bike Trader on Facebook. Thank you very much, Scott. Thanks for your chat as well and getting to me about the reunion. The interest has been amazing. I really appreciate it. Never know, Callum. Never know. That would be great, wouldn't it, if something could happen like that. Thanks, Ian. Thanks for coming on. Had a lot of people on tonight. That was really cool. Hopefully you get a few more on live now with the dark winter nights coming and all that. Cheers, Kev, buddy. He's was a very cool interview. Thank you very much, Tim. So yeah, obviously the excitement at our end. That was amazing last night when I spoke to Kevin. He spoke to the track guy at Cullen, and then got back to me yesterday night. So I sort of knew yesterday night I had loads of people chasing me on messages. To be fair, quite a few did get out of me. I'm really good at keeping secrets until it comes to something too exciting. So yeah, but especially when I get a load of BSMA legends chasing me and things like that, I just broke down a couple. But yeah, I tried not to tell too many before I went today. But it's not easy to do, and can't help it when I know information they want to know. Ian, so much better than talking to my missus. I won't put that on the screen, Ian. Sorry, we'll keep you safe on that one. Thank you very much, Dean. Appreciate that, buddy. Lee, are you going to watch the Swindon Wildcats on Saturday night or watch Swindon Town? Haven't thought that far ahead. I've got my poppy from Friday, but I've got my tickets for the final, Callum. The Swindon Wildcats are in. I don't know if you remember, but they obviously beat your Telford Tigers over the 2 legs. As you know, I follow Swindon Town and Swindon Wildcats ice hockey, love all that as well. But I need to get out to some motocrosses again because I haven't been to a motocross, believe it or not, since our reunion at the beginning of September. So I need to get out. Hopefully it's not like absolute brassic like it's been the last week or so, but especially when I take Poppy, bless her. But hopefully I can get out there and watch something because I haven't been to a motocross since our reunion. So really looking forward to that. There's some great things going on in the sport at the moment. Really buzzing to have our reunion in place. As you saw Dave King come on earlier with the vets designations. It's going to Fox Hill, which is amazing. Loads of people will be looking forward to that. He's now formed up a relationship with Doc Wobb, as we know, does the amazing bikes and everything. And I'm sure he's got great contacts as well. Hopefully they'll have some great names to come to Fox Hill again that we've seen all over the years. Would be amazing. I might camp out in the middle of the track for a couple of weeks before that. Oh, be a little bit excited about that one. So yeah, looking forward to that for sure. There's lots going on. So it looks exciting. I tried my best with our meeting to avoid as many things as I could. I've avoided the UK Evo series. I think we've avoided the Acerbis, the BSMA series, the MX Nationals. Unfortunately, I've just seen that we've clashed today with the Bridgestone, but there's always going to be something. But they literally, as I was doing the live video at Cullen, someone messaged me and said, "Oh, I won't be able to go because the Bridgestone I'm in and just announced the dates today." So that was literally as I was doing the video, so I didn't even see that one. Did check theirs before, the day before, and didn't see anything. So that's unfortunate, but hopefully I've kept it down to a bare minimum of clashing with people. But as you know, there's a lot going on, so it's going to be impossible to do everything. But I've definitely did. I even created an album in my phone and put down loads of fixtures that I tried to avoid, you know, to help them and us and stuff like that. UK Evola, Cerbis, Southwest Club, MX Nationals, Hampshire Club, BSMAs, and managed to avoid all the Southern Vets thing as well and stuff like that. So done my best on that side of things. So you can only do what you can do. But yeah, really looking forward to it. Super pumped, or should we go all Aussie? Super stoked to get a date. So we are going on April 220. I'm just getting it up. The 9th and 10th. I don't want to get it wrong. I'm in meeting. Me and Kev Wheeler. Thanks for coming on tonight, Kev. Sorted it out. So when Kev came back to me and spoke to the owner, I just literally made initial contact on Facebook, which turns out we knew the person that was running that, and they got to the owner, and then I got Kev to get in contact with him, and yeah, it's all sorted. So the 9th and 10th of April, 222. Let's go, baby. Hopefully bigger and better. Hopefully get a few more legends there from Speedway and Motocross. Unfortunately, a few had to pull out last year. Unfortunately, Ollie Allen and Chris Louis, big Speedway names, had to pull out later on. Obviously, 4 times British champion Paul Cooper broke his wrist practicing as well. So that was really unfortunate. But hopefully we'll get a few more legends there. We're definitely going to do the legends group again. It'd be really cool. It was amazing getting the guys we had there. Really appreciate that. A few have already said they'll come again, so hopefully we'll get those guys back again, and maybe more, hopefully, is the plan. Maybe tinker around with the groups a little bit, but just make it so that we cover it all. We'll have the two, definitely have the 2 modern groups again, which is one was the 125cc, 150cc and 250F. That went well. And the modern other one was the 250 2-stroke with the 350s and 450 4-strokes. The 2 modern groups went well. We'll definitely do the Vets 45 and over group again, open, which was any bike. That went well, so we'll do that one again. The novice classes were obviously popular, with obviously a lot of riders not riding for a lot of years and coming back and things like that. Hopefully a few of those guys that did really well in there will maybe move on to some other groups for next year. But we might have 2 or 3 novice groups if the need be for that. So I think the demand was high for that. Obviously, I personally really liked the Super Evo 125 group as well. It was really cool to see a full lineup of 125 2-strokes. It was really cool. That was very cool. So we didn't have many Evo 125, so maybe put the one because the Evo 125s raced with the 250 and 500 Evos, scored separately but together. But I might put maybe the 125 Evos in with the 125 Super Evos, as long as it's all 125, that'd be cool. And maybe stretch out the Super Evo. I think it was to 97, 98. I think it is. I believe. A lot of you guys know the exact year, but might stretch that out to the, the 2000 and something until they stopped the 2-strokes before they brought them back later on. So that we could, there was definitely a few other guys that wanted 2004, 2005, that type of thing. I think open it to that as well. and maybe get the Evo and 250s, the Evo, sorry, and the Super Evo 250 500 in together, so that type of thing would make that better, I reckon. Put me down for railway jumping competition. Oh, I could even envisage that. Oh, I think not in this health and safety world, buddy. That's not happening. Won't be any insurance in the world that'll cover that now. Lee, is there any interviews Motocross for Christmas, or is that it for 2000? No, mate, only just warming up. So the plan is, obviously, going to be busy now with the meeting and sorting all that stuff out as well. But the plan is, I did 3 this week, 2 Speedway and 1 Motocross. Doing another one tomorrow night with Barney Kennett. Should go down well. Should have a really fun interview tomorrow night, 7 p.m. UK time with Barney Kennett. Should be really good. Great character as well. But the plan is to try and do like at least 1 Motocross and 1 Speedway a week is the plan. Tim Coleman, skinny dipping in the river at 1 a.m. We'll see how warm it is, Tim. Maybe a rubber. I don't mind a rubber dinghy. Love to rubber dinghy as a kid growing. Everywhere there, got to get a new rubber dinghy every year at the seaside and all that. I think I see Tony Marshall's dad, John Marshall, come on earlier on today saying he'd get the fishing rods out and all that. So he could be having a bit of fun there. Might even get some fair rides and things like that as well. I think I saw a couple at some meetings and I thought that was quite a good idea as well. So obviously, like everyone is doing for all their events and all their meetings, everyone will be obviously praying for good weather. So wish everyone luck with all that as well. Obviously, we'll all be praying on that side of it. Just hoping that obviously the track. I've gone there for many British Championship meetings on taking photos and things like that over the years at Culham. So I know it's pretty good for all weathers. So that's a good thing as well. Certainly will help if it comes to that, and we'll have a little bit of a wetter meeting or whatever. But hopefully we don't. But we know it can cope and still have a good meeting. So that's good. All the parking's good. All the access in and out's good. I got to see the new one going in and out today, which was fine. The postcode took me literally right in there, so you don't have to worry about the postcode. So anyone that didn't know exactly where to go, it's not the same entrance as before that everyone was used to, where you sort of go in where all them big buildings are at Culham. Come off the main road and there's them, I think it's called something Science, something. And there's a load of buildings and you go in all that way. It's not actually that way anymore. It's a bit before that. You basically go behind, there's a school there. It's a road that goes down the back of the school. And then it just literally snakes in, and then you sort of come in the other side, like the barn side where the back of the start is. Come in that way. That's the new way in now, and we got to see it today, so that was cool. So that's fine, and the postcode takes you right in there, so it's beautiful. Let's jump the Thames instead. I've seen how wide that was today, mate. I think I used to like doing things like that, jumping brooks and stuff when I was a kid, but there's no brook there. I wouldn't mind going on some of them, what are they calling them? Boats that people live in and all that. Saw a few of them down there today at the bottom of there. I forgot what they're called. Those boats that people live in, don't they? What are they called? Saw a few of them down there. Barges? I want to say barges. Is it barges? I saw a few of them down there today. So that'd be cool, wouldn't it? Maybe I could hook one of them up and say, is it all right if I stay in one of them? That's it. Here's barge. Look. Thanks, Tim. Where and when is the Christmas piss up? This is mine now. Just one can. Cheers. Bobby Moore. Yes. Loving it. Bobby Moore. So I'm on again tomorrow, 7 p.m. UK time. Actually, I need to get my t-shirt out again. I don't know. My mum got me with 7 p.m. UK time on. So I'm managing to stick to that time lately. Yeah. So yeah, lots going on. I will keep you all updated as soon as possible on when sort out the booking in. I was dicing with the idea of personally doing it and then maybe doing it online and all that sort of stuff as well, but we'll see. We've got to sort out this week, I would imagine, and get people on it. I really appreciate all the messages getting. I've tried to reply to everyone. Wasn't easy, but I've been training myself over the years since my Football Manager days to type supersonic even with these big sausages. So that's a thing I can do. So I managed to reply to everyone, hopefully anyway, and I will get back to anyone that's messaged me. And sort of try and live and breathe by that, as it were. So yeah, I won't waffle anymore. I'll keep you all updated with the booking in as soon as that gets sorted. Like I said, my plan is, however we do it, I will get hold of all the riders that rode in the first reunion, just basically giving them a 24-hour heads up that it's good to go for booking in, and then put it public 24 hours later, just to basically give them guys and girls, Gail, if Gail wants to ride again. Actually spoke to Emma Huckabridge earlier that said that she might be riding, possibly, on a 125 or something, so that'd be cool. If we can get some more ladies there, it'd be cool. And yeah, we'll definitely give them just a little leg up. They really appreciated their support in the first one. A lot of people said that missed the first one, that were looking forward to, won't miss the second one. So hopefully the interest is good. So do appreciate, like I said, all the messages I've been getting saying when can I book in, etc. But I will be on that as soon as possible, and you lot guys will be the first to know. So I appreciate everyone's messaging. We've been ahead of the game already anyway. We've got catering sorted and all that sorts of stuff, and we're going to have burger vans, pasta, I believe, as well. We're having, and I think we're having a pancake pod as well there. We've got an ice cream van, and I think we're having, I believe we're having some sweet vans as well that Sharon's sorting out with her friends as well to get going, and possibly, like I said, might be having some fair rides and stuff like that as well. We had sort of bouncy castle and some stuff there last time, but yeah, so it's all coming together nicely, ahead of the game already a little bit, which is good. And obviously you're always going to learn. We all learn every day and whatever we do, but the experiences has helped us massively. We're not going to get caught out by a few things we did the first time. Definitely won't get caught again. Learn fast and all that. You've got to do it. And yeah, so we're buzzing for it. So I will speak to you all soon. Keep you all updated. If you're interested, like I said, I've got a great Speedway character as well on tomorrow night, Barney Kennett. Should be really fun. Great character. He'll have a lot of stories for us as well. He was a colourful character in his racing days anyway, a very good rider in the British Speedway League, but he didn't mess around with riders as well, so we'll speak to him about all that. And like I've heard the stories of if God help anyone that cut him up and stuff like that. So we'll get into all them stories. So it should be fun tomorrow night, 7 p.m. UK time with Barney Kennett, so you can check that out as well. Maybe I might have some more news tomorrow at the reunion, but you'll see it all anyway. I'll post it all up, and yeah, really appreciate everyone that come on tonight. Super Bob Moore, beautiful, absolutely loving it. Loved that guy, loved his career. Some iconic bikes and teams he rode for, and obviously winning the 125 World Championship at Chesterfield and all that. And we saw him on the Yan and the KTM 125s, 250s. Was super cool. So awesome to get him on. I will share this out there. Anyone that wants to share my post, you can't share my one from the group, but I've got a Facebook page that's shareable, and my own Facebook's shareable. So we can share that post out to people that want to tag anyone in it. I'd really appreciate it that you think would be interested in it. Get it out there so people can see it. So hope to speak to you all soon. Thank you very much for coming on this evening. Appreciate it. Better say my dad's quote, we'll go on. It's nice to be important, but it's important to be nice. Good night from me. Good night from my dad. Good night and God bless, and take it easy. See you all soon. Cheers.